Metalheads, brothers and sisters. It's me, your host, Eddie D of the International Metalheads Club. We're always here to look after your well-being. So, in the studio, we've got the one and only Dr. D. Say hey, Dr. D.
Yes, Dr. D.
Great to have the doctor in the house. But on a serious note, speaking about health and issues, we're running a special show tonight. James Neeson has brought out the book Mental Health for Metalheads, which is an important subject. I've always worn the moniker as the madman, but sometimes you do need a little help. We all know the rules of the mosh pit. When someone falls down, you pick them up, but sometimes you need to pick yourself up. It all starts with you, so we need to look after ourselves. James has done great work with this, and 50% of the proceeds also go to the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, which does great work stamping out intolerance, hatred and prejudice. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce tonight. It's Eddie D and Dr. D with the one and only James Neeson. Yeah, so we'll make a start. So James Neeson, thanks a million for coming on the show. It's a pleasure for me to have you here, because lately on socials, everything I've been seeing the book pop up, the mental health for metalheads and to rock yourself better mentally. So yeah, it's a big deal to me and to a lot of people I know, mental health. So we'll go back to the start for a minute. So what kind of got you into metal? It's something I'm going to start asking people.
So I had an older cousin, Paul, who was into Sepultura, Metallica, all of that kind of Pantera, etc. in the 90s, when I was just like an impressionable little 6-year-old. So it was always kind of bubbling from there. And then, when I went to high school, just, gradually, went, Limp Bizkit and Slipknot and Korn and everyone were on the radio, and Kerrang TV was just starting, and that was all.
Yeah.
And you just kind of slowly got indoctrinated.
No better form of music to be indoctrinated into, I can tell you that.
Definitely.
Yeah, so mental health for metalheads. And how did it come about? Because it's such a fantastic idea.
So I myself have kind of lived with mental illness and, been through traumas and bereavements. And, when I decided to get better, I started, going to therapy and reading self-help books and, listening to, mental health related podcasts and watching mental health related videos. But every time I was doing that, I was like, oh, that reminds me of this thing Metallica did, or oh, that reminds me of this thing Slayer did, or so forth. Or like, oh, that's almost the exact lyrics to this Crowbar song. And it just kind of, I was kind of making voice notes on my phone to just text my friend Paul, like a kind of therapy metal related joke or something, and then I started making notes for myself about the actual, therapy and self-help, do this later, like note to self.
Yeah.
And it kind of twigged to me like, oh, this would make like a good blog or something. And then like, oh, this would make a good series of blogs. And like, oh, I could make like a website or something. And then it just all spiraled into a book bit by bit.
Yeah, and it seems to be getting popular out there as well, because it's popping up in different places. Are you getting much feedback on it from it?
Yeah. Fingers crossed. I've not had any negative feedback at all so far. It's only been out like two and a half months, so it's hard to say what people will end up thinking en masse. But so far, everyone who's bought it seems to like it. And like literally the only negative comments I've ever had is somebody accidentally saying like, oh, I don't like AI on the cover. And it's like, that's not AI. Ed Repka painted that. That's the guy who painted P-Cell.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and how did it come about getting him? Because Ed is like world renowned, such a...
Just literally applied. Like he has a application process where you like pitch your idea to him, and he sees if he wants to do it, and then
Wow.
Yeah, and he did a great job on it. Yeah, it really kind of captures everything that. Yeah, the minute someone holds it up on a video, or you see that it just stands out in the background somewhere as well. He did a fantastic job on that cover.
I'm really pleased. You know, I had an idea in my head, but the way he actually did it was, you know, much better than my, you know, concept. But I kind of asked him, like, could you make the color scheme kind of like leprosy by death and hazardous mutation by municipal waste? You know, like that kind of
Yeah.
purpley reddy color scheme. And I had kind of said, can you make like a little brain-headed metalhead with a battle jacket and like doing like meditation? But like the way he realized it was just so, you know, like an album cover.
Yeah. Oh, it's incredible. And yeah, like that, it really stands out, catches your attention, and then makes you kind of sit on it a bit longer and be like, okay, what's all this about?
I'm pleased. I can take no credit for that. That's all Ed. You know?
Yeah, and kind of for me, when it comes down to mental health, it's an individual thing. I know there's a lot of things out at the moment where I know companies and everything are trying to do group well-being, and it's kind of box ticking exercises, but this is definitely seems more for the individual, where you kind of take out of it what you can, which I think is very important kind of for, yeah, the individual. Like, you can look for help, but it starts with helping yourself, which I found out through things I've gone through as well. So, yeah, you seem to have pieced it together lovely, the way, yeah, using metal as a way for mental health, because metalheads turn to the music in all types of life situations. So, no, it's kind of, can only applaud you for coming out with it, because I've been wondering, like, why didn't anyone think of it before?
Yeah, I kind of went looking for it before I wrote it. Like, you know, I'm buying self-help books. Like, where's the one for metalheads? And like, it didn't exist. So it was like, oh, well, then I'm going to have to write it. Someone else actually did manage to put one out between me starting and finishing. So there's a guy called Andrew Russetti, and he's put another one out you might want to check out. It's called From Mosh Pits to Mindfulness. And it's like, yeah, if you had got that out quicker, I wouldn't have bothered. But yeah, here we are.
Yeah, well, in fairness, the more books about this, the better, because it's such an important subject, as we know. Um, yeah, and it's everywhere at the minute. So, what's the distribution like? How are you picking up, getting it around the world?
So I'm using a couple of different things. So Amazon have a program called KDP, where you can kind of sell books directly through Amazon. You can put it in different markets, you know, like in Amazon India or Amazon Italy or whatever. Obviously, Amazon UK and Ireland, America, etc. But so that's one of the platforms. And then there's other companies like that do it for other things. So I've gone through a company called Ingram Spark that, you know, just anyone can use. And it'll kind of put your book into different book websites. So, for example, it got it onto Waterstones, and it got it onto Walmart's website, and lots of other, you know, book selling websites. But it's kind of like, you know, if you're in a band and you were to go to something like DistroKid to get your demo onto iTunes. So there's like services like that where you can kind of, get your material in the right places. And there's a bookshop in London has started to sell it, Raven Records in Camden, if anyone listening is in London.
I'm seeing that a lot, yeah, because I follow them on Instagram as well. They've promoted it well in some of their videos.
Brilliant. And then just as of today, I've delivered some to another record shop, which is Rotten Records in Cornwall. It's the most southerly record shop in the whole of the UK.
Right.
And yeah, hopefully more to follow. If anyone owns a record shop and is interested, hit me up on Instagram.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, hopefully this will go global, because definitely it's something that's needed. Like it's important. And tying it into the music, then it kind of, like when it comes to the human emotion, there's different songs that we all pick up on that catches it at different times. So how did you go tying about in with, I know trash was a big thing for you in certain parts of it, so how did you go about tying in the music to the mental health aspect?
I mean, some of it is just obvious lyrical content, you know,
Yeah.
like this song is about, you know, anger, or this song is about depression, or this song is about anxiety, or whatever. Like, I mean, Slayer have a song called Panic Attack. Yes. It doesn't take a rocket scientist, kind of. But yeah, a lot of it was when actually doing the therapy or reading the self-help media, it's kind of like, oh, this reminds me of this, or, you know, I've got a different way to explain it. Like, it, just as an example, I was reading a book about a type of therapy called IFS by a guy called Richard Swartz. And he was trying to describe like the difference between like an individual and a system. And he used the example of like a car. It was like, you know, if you have a wing mirror on its own, it's just a mirror, but like when it's part of the car, it's part of the whole system. And if you take the mirror away, the rest of the car is still a system. But, you know, and anyway, he was trying to explain like what a system was with the metaphor of a car. And I was like, if I was writing that, I would use a drum kit. You know, take a hi-hat away, it's still a drum kit. You take the, you know, the rack toms away, it's still a drum kit. And a lot of the book was just like that naturally, just like me trying to square this stuff in my own head, but my own head is just full of, you know, metal. I'm just a big metal nerd.
Yeah, and as I keep saying, it ties in beautifully. Yeah, and I keep going back to the personal aspect of mental health. I feel like a lot of the times with mental health, it's looking where to start. Like, you know, there's something not right, so you actually need to kind of admit yourself you need a little bit of help. So I think this book kind of is a good starting point for people. As I said, mental health is different for each person, through the individual, but I'd say, judging from this, there's probably a lot of aspects that you can pick what you need from it.
Like, that's the main like design of the book. So it's not a prescribed, you have to do everything I say, and you have to start at page 1 and, you know, read it in sequence all the way to the end. It's kind of like a you know, a CD and records fair, where there's hundreds of albums here, but like pick the ones that you like the look of. So my friend Paul, who runs the False Face on YouTube, it's like a podcast. He's had like members of like Dimmy Borgir and Cradle of Filth and Ackercock and stuff. But he kind of come up with this when we were discussing verbally the idea of a book. He come up with this metaphor as like, think of a battle jacket. There's only so much space for patches. You know, you've got your huge back patch. You know, you've got your little patches. You've got like usually one in prominent place, like where your pentagram is there. You know, that's larger, and maybe you can fit like a few little badges here and there. There's like, you know, you can't do all the therapy, Jimmy. You know, as much as you want to try all these different things, like there's only so much time in the day. And he was kind of like, your back patch is like your job. You know, if that's taking up the most of the jacket, and it's huge, so you're only going to be able to fit like so much around it. So the book kind of presents like the best of all the kind of options that I got like taught in therapy, or that I've researched, or that I've looked up, or that I've found in self-help books, etc. It kind of presents the reader with like, here, pick your top options, and then you can build something that's actually like sustainable. So like I'll give you like 100 things. You pick the 5 you can actually do, tolerate, do, and afford to do, and keep doing for a long term. So you mentioned like it's individual and it's hard to know where to start, and that's exactly like the point of this book. Is like, if everyone who would read this book would come out with like 10 different options that they're going to pick. And those options will kind of hopefully give you an idea of where you want to start. So, you can, and, you can tailor it to yourself. So, if someone who doesn't have an arm, because of an accident, or, a difference at birth, they might not want to do something that involves their hands. Like in meditation, there's certain like hand positions you do. Like if you don't have a hand, you can't do that, so that's not an option for you. If you are deaf, like listening to certain music is not an option to you, etc. So the book is very much like, you are an individual. There's hundreds of different options out there. Find the right ones for you.
Yeah, no, that sounds fantastic. And the battle jacket metaphor is just perfect to explain kind of, where you need with therapy, because there's so many options. It's just to find the right one for you. And fair play for giving people the options, because what I find about Metalheads, we're emotional people, and that's kind of a part of the thing that links us to the music. It's like, it can be raw rage, it could be bordering on the symphonic metal, which is more of a romanticized kind of version of the world. It's so to give people, like, the music ties us kind of to our emotions, so to give people the same thing in a literature form to help mentally, that sounds just fantastic to me altogether.
It's interesting. The psychiatrist who fact checked the book for me, she was kind of telling me that artists, so that would include the musicians, who are making the music, but people who are an artist tend to have bigger emotions, tend to feel more, tend to be more in tune with emotions, tend to experience higher highs, lower lows, angrier angers, etc. And a lot of people who are fans are also like bedroom musicians, or like were in a band when they were in high school or whatever. And B, even the ones that don't, she was speculating like, maybe what draws you to metal is the same kind of brain that draws artists to art. So there's a good chance that us as metal fans are, like you say, very emotion-driven people.
And because going back to the therapist, like, I would say that last year in 2025, I had a total mental breakdown altogether. And I went to see a therapist. Thankfully, my wife suggested it. And because it was hell on her seeing me in the way that I was. But she picked up on things that I never realized was there in my life, that was causing different things that you never deal with as you grow up and along in life. And then near the end of it, I got to a place where it was like, and what you do as pastimes or something. I was like, I used to go to gigs and everything like that. She was like, what kind of gigs? I said, heavy metal. And she said, you don't go to many of them anymore. No. And what do you think about music? Well, it was in bands and stuff like that. She was like, well, that's a major problem right there straight away, because of the emotional side with the music. And she knew what Metalheads were like, that is such an important part of their life. She said, do you realize you're missing such a big part of your life as a person, that this could be a piece that's missing? And here we are. The Metalheads Club is back on again because of it, building up gradually. I think you posted something recently that not to be looking back on comparing yourself to who you were, that you need to more see who you are now, and it's nearly a form of depression looking back on who you were. There's certain events I would have run and everything in the past that it kind of all drifted away, and I was comparing myself to that. But yeah, when you take that aside, look in the moment at who you are now and say, just be here and then move forward. It's kind of, you're progressing then in a way. Yeah, so that's interesting about what you were saying. It kind of leads back to the therapist I was speaking with. The music is an emotional connection, and without it, you're not the full person. But yeah, here I am now back on track as the full person. Yeah, I'm just throwing it in just to link it to what we're saying.
Like, I think it's really important to us. You know, it's like it's more than a hobby. It's like an enduring, burning, special interest that never goes away.
Yeah.
And it's if you think of like Roper, Logan, and Tierney, that they have this idea of like your activities of daily living. And there's certain things you have to do, like eat and sleep and get dressed, and like one of them is expressing sexuality, etc. But like I feel like with Metalheads there's like an extra one, which is like talk about Metallica or whatever. And Maslow's hierarchy of needs it has a thing where you have your survival needs like food, water, shelter, and you have like higher needs, like feeling safety and connection and stuff. And then like the top of the hierarchy is actualization, which is like, I don't know, for an artist, it would be like expressing your art, etc. But I feel like, even if even if there's food on the table and, like a roof over your head, if you take the metal away from a metal fan, there's always going to be something missing. So like I feel like that's like the top of the pyramid of your hierarchy of needs. Like it is, you almost need the metal, don't you?
It's still, yeah, there's a massive void if it's not there. And I think it goes back to the tagline we have with the Metalheads Club, that it's been there for 20 years. Kind of, it's not just the music, it's the lifestyle, which it kind of is. And yeah, as metalheads, we all band together. We look after each other collectively. And I think more that we wanted from this show tonight was to show you need to look after yourself as well. It's very important that it begins with you, but definitely an important thing as well is to speak with people. When it comes to music, we're all very comfortable speaking or even arguing passionately about our favourite bands. My favourite band's better than yours.
The demos were better.
The big debate about Megadeth and Metallica. So if we're able to speak so passionately about that, we should. There's a stigma around mental health, but we should, as metalheads, be able to open up to each other. Things, we all have our down days, so we need to kind of speak with each other. It's definitely dialogue, conversation is definitely an important part of it.
Absolutely. And if you read any metal musician's autobiography or rock musician, if they get old enough, like the trajectory of nearly every musician's autobiography is like, oh, we were starting out, we were so crazy, oh, we got popular. Then we went off the rails and started drinking or drugging too much, and we got really depressed, and everything went wrong, and then the band broke up. And then we got healthy and we got back together, and now we do meditation and yoga. It's like almost everyone. Dave Mustaine, his was like that. He started martial arts. Duff McKagan, same. Aerosmith, both the Toxic Twins, same. Your man, what do you call it? Topless guy from Def Leppard. The name escapes me. Anyway, Def Leppard's guitarist. Same. All of the books, even like Metallica, what is Sin to Anger, that we went to therapy, period.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, when it came out, saying Tanker was kind of it was nearly like watching a car crash. But I think it was a car crash we all needed to see. That,
Yeah.
I think it made, like at the start, it was, what was it? Was it Dr. Phil was what was the
Yeah.
name of the therapist in it? You were kind of
Phil
watching,
Tile, I think.
yeah, you're watching going, oh my God, this fella is just destroying this band. But now when you look back at it all these years later, it's like, oh my God, this fella actually saved the band. It's, yeah, it's, you kind of piece together. It's only when you look back on things like that, you're not comparing it, but you're seeing actually this fella wasn't cool back then, but my God, he's a legend now. Actually kept the band together so long.
I went to see them in Cardiff a month or two ago, and I was kind of sat there thinking, you know, if it wasn't for St. Anger, I wouldn't get to see this concert. Like,
Yeah,
James would be dead by now. Like,
yeah, because he was
so
just, you could see the cracks appearing in him as it went on. I don't know, was it great editing from that whoever made the video, but yeah, it kind of, I think whoever the doctor was in that, if it was Dr. Phil, like he has a lot, he deserves a lot of praise for opening the metal world to this kind of thing, because we seen him as well here in Dublin, and my God, they're just a well-oiled machine compared to, they just keep getting better and better, and the atmosphere at it. But yeah, when you kind of think what could have been, it's kind of, you kind of want Metalheads to take away from that. It's like, imagine, try not to imagine what could happen if you don't get the help that you need, but definitely get the help. Become like Metallica, become a well-oiled machine in 20 years' time. Just, yeah, start working at it now. I don't mean to be preaching or anything, but yeah, every little bit of help you can get is always great help.
absolutely.
Yeah, I also find that metal as well compared to other genres of music. Like I've had moments like I used to suffer massively from panic attacks and anxiety, and I ended up going on medication for that to help me level my head a bit and then get everything a bit under control. But I remember at times of that, especially when a panic attack starts coming on. The thing with metal compared to other genres of music is you can turn it on, turn it up loud, and just scream at it as well.
You're supposed to.
Yeah,
Courage.
and it's a great it's a great kind of, especially with anxiety, I found it's a great kind of little bit of a distraction to kind of leave the anxiety just come down a bit. It's obviously like there's other things to work on with it, but you can just listen to it, scream with it, let energy out with it, and that anxiety just starts to level off and come down a bit. And I always found, like, especially when I was living abroad for a bit, I suffered massively from panic attacks then. I would just turn on the music and turn it up loud in the hotel I was living in, and I couldn't give a heck about the neighbors or whatever around. I'd just be headbanging around the room, just leaving the energy kind of get out, and then the panic would turn into the energy, and it kind of just, I always found that great with it too. And you can't really do that to every genre of music.
No, it'd be a bit hard. You know, like those like piano John Lewis Christmas songs where they, no, it wouldn't work.
No, not at all. It's the energy it gives off is just incredible. And then, yeah, a lot of it, there was a couple of songs for me, a lot of the lyrics kind of tied back around with how I was feeling. And listening through that and listening to it spoken and then kind of understanding that and how I felt as well was a great help as well.
Absolutely. I feel like, you know, like obviously, you know, if you listen to like depressing suicidal black metal as a genre, like that's not typically gonna lift you up. But there are loads of people out there who write like really almost therapeutic lyrics. Like I feel like Jimmy Jasta, you could just like have a book of Jimmy Jasta inspirational quotes to like lift your mood.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely some lyricists who just like, you know, find a way to say something that you're like, I've felt that for 20 years, but I never had the words. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It gives you a whole new vocabulary you can use.
Yeah, and I think that's how a lot of bands become people's favourites. A certain line, a certain lyric somewhere, it's just, hang on, I felt that way when I was 20. Yeah, it just, and it's kind of a connection. Oh, I wonder what else does he know about me?
Sorry, did I write this?
Yeah, so what kind of advice could you give to metalheads starting out on this journey? So, obviously, the book is hopefully going to be a big help, but if you can give one little piece of advice of where to start, people can only find their route themselves, but if you could give people advice on their starting point, what would it be?
So I would give everyone this piece of advice. Like, start watching the YouTube channel of Dr. Scott Eilers, right? I stumbled upon him by accident when I was Googling some anger management stuff. But this guy like spoke to me in a way that I'd never expected. Like I have always been put off by, therapy and self-help and, a lot of the ideas of like relaxing music or like group therapy, support groups. Like, no, I've always been really suspicious, reticent, and not interested. Like, and you pick up a self-help book, and like the cover of it is, like this, some flowers or some leaves or like a rainbow, and like, the only rainbow I'm interested in is the one with Richie Blackmore and Dio in it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think a lot of people who, listen to Deicide for fun are probably not gonna gel with like the default presentation of self-help media. So this guy, Dr. Scott Eilers, he actually, as well as eventually becoming a psychologist, as an adult, like he is a patient, and he's actually lived through it. So when he is kind of describing like what it feels like to be mentally ill, it was like, good God, I've never felt so called out, seen. I've never like, are you me? What's happening here? So his YouTube channel and like he's got hundreds of videos at this point, but if I was to give anyone a starting point, it would be like watch that on YouTube because it's free. And if you are low and you need a starting point, or if you're like really anxious and you need a starting point, like going out and doing anything that's not free and not low effort is probably too much of a challenge. So like if I said go out and buy my book, like my book's quite massive, I wouldn't say buy my book. I'd say watch something for free on YouTube first to get you primed. I wouldn't say go to a support group first if you're too afraid to leave the house. That's like too big a step. So like the easiest but most effective thing I think anyone could do would be watch Dr. Scott's channel enough to get enough like good ideas to get you primed to want to look after yourself. Like I didn't want to look after myself. I stumbled across it by accident looking for anger. De-escalation techniques. But it was so inspiring, and like the way he talks. And then like bonus, in one of the videos, he turns out he's like a metal fan. He's got this whole story about like listening to Emperor in a car full of like normies and not realizing why they kept taking the CD out. And he's had other stories about rock and metal music in some of the episodes, and I was like, yeah, I've never identified with someone as much. So that would definitely be the first thing I signpost. And then he's also written like a couple of books, but his first book, For When Everything Is Burning, I think like literally saved my life. So like I've bought people copies of it, just sent them to him. I was like, read this.
Yeah.
You must read this. So if anyone was looking for like where do I start with self-help books is Dr. Scott Eiler's is For When Everything is Burning. And, aptly named because, at the time, when I bought it, it was like, yeah, kind of everything in my life is about, is either burning or like about to start catching.
Yeah.
So break glass in case of emergency, buy that book. So that would be my definite starting point to anyone. And obviously, once, if you were able to leave the house, if you were able to leave the bed, speak to your GP immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you have good friends, talk to them as well. Because, yeah, I think in those places, people forget their support groups. There is a support group around you. You forget these people are here to help. So, like, often you might think you're being a burden to someone, but you're not. Everyone is there willing to help each other. That's something I think people should remember, all right. And that's a perfect description that you gave there, like to get primed, because you're going to start on a journey. You mightn't know it at the start, or you mightn't be too willing to take the journey, but it could be the best journey you ever make in your life. So that's a brilliant description. And sometimes you just need it you mightn't need it as a massive mental health problem, but it's good to just check yourself every now and again to make sure, am I okay? Things going all right. I'm under a bit of pressure at the moment, but just keep telling yourself you're going to be okay, and take that little journey.
Absolutely. And you mentioned peers. I was quite lucky. The first time I went to group therapy, immediately on the first session, there was a dude wearing a Venom hoodie. Like Venom Black Metal, Venom Welcome to Hell, like that band. Not the Spider-Man guy. Well, that would have been cool. But yeah, that put me at ease. But one thing I've always thought of, that always put me off in the past was like, all right, I don't want to go to like a group or a support group or anything and it'd be like all the chavs who were bullying me in the first place, be there, and I'm like, I show up and I'm like, oh, not you guys. Or, for everyone to be much, much worse than I am and then feel imposter syndrome and like, oh, I don't deserve to get help because I'm not as bad as everyone else is suffering. So that always played on my mind and put me off going to groups for years. But there's a cool thing starting to happen now. There's a group you've probably seen on Instagram called Heavy Metal Therapy, and they do peer support groups with metalheads. So like they've got like a couple of locations, like one in Scotland, a couple in England. Where you can go and talk about, your mental health and spend time with like-minded people. But, like all the people are going to be metal fans. Because like, I don't know about you, but like everyone that I end up being friends with is a metal fan.
Yeah.
I don't tend to make friends with many non-fans. It's like whatever the frequency or like brain type of people who are drawn to metal is the kind of people I want to be friends with. So if everyone in a support group was like that, it would be cool. And then it's like, oh, someone's actually built that. So that's, if you live in England or Scotland, something to look into. And there's a very similar group who are called Metal for Life NI. So in the north, there's Metal for Life NI, which is also like a mental health peer support group by metal fans. I don't know of any in the south yet, so if you guys want to start one, or
I don't think people listening to me now will be much of a help, but if someone wants to come along, we'll host it.
But that's definitely something exciting. Is the new world of like mental health, metal related things. And other things that I've been like, I never wanted to try yoga because yoga I always associated with like popular girl in a high school movie who's like the villain character. But there's people now starting like metal yoga, doom metal yoga, punk yoga, emo yoga, and it's like I'll actually try it now.
Yeah, well, one thing kind of I admire about yoga is I have tried it a couple of times and I do recommend it. But the problem I didn't keep going was it was on 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning, and when you're up late at night having a beer watching heavy metal, 8 o'clock in the morning, yoga's no good to you. But yeah, when Steven Tyler is big into yoga, and when you watch him on stage, it's like yoga's not too bad now. If I can move that one like that when I'm in my 70s, it's obviously some use. And he credits it a lot as well with his, to keep him calm and balanced these days. Yeah, so do yoga, yeah.
Yeah, I actually, I'm now kind of interested in a metal yoga class and how that would go. Like, do you just have metal blaring in the background, or what do you do?
Yeah.
I need to find out the format and try it out.
Start one where you guys are.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a mate who's a yoga teacher. I might talk to him.
We have the instructor now, so we will have to do something now.
That's a good idea, actually.
This move is called the bolt thrower. The shape of
Oh,
Yeah, so have you any more plans for this book, or maybe a follow-up, or...
I'm not writing a follow-up yet. It's only been out 2 months, so I'm kind of very much at the early stages, just trying to get people to know it exists. I got really lucky. It got into Record Collector magazine this month, so that's been a nice boost. And then getting on the podcast circuit with yourselves and everything. But yeah, very much in the it's like a band. Like you put out the album in August. You're not usually immediately writing the second album yet.
Yeah.
Actually, to be fair, a lot of them are. Like Black Sabbath and Kiss and everything had like 2 albums a year for a while. Nowadays, when everyone waits 5-6 years between albums,
Yeah, no, hopefully this will take off, because it's kind of mad how this podcast came about, because I was after saying to Dr. D here that I'd seen things online about it and I thought this is a fantastic idea and I definitely want to get this guy on the show. And then the next day he contacted me, so it seems like it was meant to be to come on, but definitely we're going to try to promote it as much as we can anyway, because
thank you.
It's very important to everyone. And I really hope this travels to Metalheads around the world. And and people should write more of these books for Metalheads, because we're all there for each other. But as I said, we need to look after ourselves as well, first and foremost.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Speaking of like around the world, I have, I've got a few copies in Australia. I've just sent 20 copies to Norway. There's been a couple in Germany, Canada, definitely a couple, in the US, a couple. So it's definitely like left the UK and Ireland. Hopefully, if any of those people tells a friend, maybe it will eventually grow.
Fingers crossed. We have members in America, Australia, New Zealand. Hopefully there's France, Spain, and we're continually growing. So we'll keep trying to promote it as best we can. As we grow, hopefully the sales of the book will grow as well.
I don't think I've sold any in New Zealand, so New Zealand listener, nudge, wink, wink.
And tell your friends as well, when you get it. Definitely. Oh no, thanks a million for coming on, James, and thanks for all the good work. Before you go, I think I saw a Halloween album cover there behind you, the Keeper of the Seven Keys.
It is.
Yeah.
I just like to frame album covers. Like there's
Oh yes,
Things Metal by
Motorhead,
Manowar,
Sexy
Operation.
Wheels of Steel.
Yeah.
There's probably not on camera, but this room is annoying because it's triangle shaped, so it don't have flat walls. But in my previous houses, I've just had like entire walls covered in like 50, 60 album covers. Hence the Ed Repka interest.
Excellent.
I miss the old days of when Kerrang was a proper heavy metal magazine and Metal Hammer. You get the posters in the middle and
Yeah,
just
that was.
just cover everything.
That was definitely my high school, bedroom was just all the Kerrang, Metal Hammer, Terrorizer posters.
My mother would walk in, oh, not another one.
Did you guys have Terrorizer in the South, or is that a very UK thing?
Terrorizer only in very odd places that might have a kind of very select. They kind of, the way there was little old magazine shops that have everything that none of the rest of them would have. But yeah, kind of not mainstream kind of magazines. If you were lucky, every couple of months they might have one. But no, it wasn't. It wasn't a common thing. All right.
I remember once in the South I got Brave Words and Bloody Knuckles magazine, and it was all about Cannibal Corpse recording. What was the album after Gore? It's all about them recording the Wretched Spawn.
Yeah.
I found that in the South once, and then I never saw it anywhere else again. And I thought, like, this is a really good magazine. I want more, but I never ever saw it for sale anywhere.
Yeah. I've never seen that for sale myself here, so that was a stroke of luck coming across that one.
Somebody must have brought it over somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't meant to be for sale. Someone just left it on the airplane.
Happy days. And they probably still charge you enough for it.
Absolutely. Before I go, could I give a shout out to some of my friends for the listeners?
Yeah.
One of the things I kind of come across in the mental health self-help sphere was like building up other people, celebrating other people, like don't just make it all about you. So I've been making a point every time I do go on a podcast to kind of point listeners to my friend's work as well. So there's a guy in Canada called Mike Ladano, has a YouTube channel called Grab a Stack of Rock, and he's done some content on mental health as well. He does like lots of deep dives on things like he's did an episode on every thing Iron Maiden have ever released, like all the singles, live albums, etc. He had Blaze Bailey on the show as well. So if you like your metal, check out Grab a Stack of Rock. And my friend John, who did the illustrations on the inside of the book, he's in a metal band called 1024, like the time of day, 10:24. So if you like your more like extreme, blast beats, he's a big fan of the Berserker. So if you like your extreme metal, check out 1024. And also, there's a podcast I went on earlier called The Weird Ways Rock Show. It's weird is in WYRD. But it is really interesting, and I think more people should kind of listen to it. So if anyone here, if you've run out of episodes of this and you want like something else, check out The Weird Ways Rock Show.
Definitely.
Yeah. Excellent. Definitely. I'll try to remember to link them into our YouTube distribution of this as well when I get there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No bother at all.
And you mentioned another friend earlier, I think, that had a podcast. What was the...
Oh, yeah. Paul McNamee. So he edited the book for me as well because he's like a qualified English teacher and everything. So he runs a YouTube channel called The False Face. Like a mask, like a false face.
Yeah.
And he's had all sorts of guests from from metal bands. He's got sorry, my brain is totally froze there. Yes, sorry. Members of like Enslaved and Cradle of Filth and Ackerkaka and My Dying Bride and stuff. So like if you like your heavy stuff, you can check him out as well.
Excellent.
Brilliant. No, that's great. Yeah, no, the more metal we can promote, the better. So whether it's podcasts, bands, albums, venues, we'll do it. We're welcome to anyone on the show. And yeah, if they get fed up with us, go listen to them.
I'm gonna make a point as well. If next podcast I'm on, I'm gonna tell him listen to this.
Brilliant. Thanks, Sammy. I really appreciate it. And is it mainly Amazon where you get the book now?
Yeah, or you can go into any Waterstones and ask them to order you a copy into the shop, or you can buy it off Waterstone's website.
Yeah.
And yeah, basically just Google the book, and if there is a book website that you use, it'll probably be on there.
Yeah.
Different stuff, Mergers and Quinn and Booktopia, and ones I had never even heard of before.
Oh, excellent.
Excellent. No, definitely anyone that feels like it, do go purchase it and check it out. And James, thanks a million again for coming on. Thanks for all the good work. And anytime you feel like coming on again, as we tell everyone, doors open anytime.
Thank you. I had a great time. Like I said, like metal fans seem to be on the same brain frequency as me. Like you're the exact kind of people I would be friends with if we lived in the same town. So it was great to be on. To be honest with you,
great having you.
Brilliant. Yeah,
absolutely.
We try and keep it as laid back as possible.
Yeah.
So there you go, brothers and sisters. Thanks a million for James for coming on the show. It's a pleasure having him here. And the main message tonight is to all look after yourselves. We all look after each other, but look after you as well. And if you ever need help, we're such a great community as Metalheads. You'll always have someone to talk to. Remember, as a Metalhead, the world will always be a better place with you in it. So stick around, and in the future, come to the meetups and everything. I know sometimes we don't want to leave the door. Sometimes the world is scary out there, but there's a big open world of metal. We all share it together, and we're all here for you. So on that note, for tonight, I'll say, tally ho, my friends.